Government prime time, bitch!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Silver Screen Scream Show. Today we're going to be talking about a very underrated movie in my opinion. But before we get started, I'm going to be introducing you to another sexy bitch on the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Zach Monroe. I was on another podcast called We Came From Beneath the Sea. Listen, I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller on this show. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me on, Kirby.
No problem. Thank you for joining. I mean, this has been a long time coming. We have been talking about doing episodes in each of our shows for quite some time. But not only that, we thought about doing a podcast of our own, which isn't horror related. Just to get a little bit nerdy here, we were going to do a Spider-Man podcast. Still keeping that in my pocket for future reference. But yeah, this has been a long time coming, and I'm very thankful to have you on the show.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited to be here talking shop, especially about this little movie we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, this is a little underrated gem, I feel anyways. Before we talk about it, I just feel like not a lot of people talked about it when it was released. And I have a feeling I know why, but we'll get into that here in a second. Go ahead and tell us what your favorite horror movie is and what exactly got you into scary movies to begin with.
Without a doubt, hands down, my favorite horror film of all time is Reanimator, directed by Stuart Gordon, starring Jeffrey Combs.
Classic.
Cramped.
Classic.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
If y'all out there have not seen it and you love sci-fi / Lovecraftian horror, you need to check it out. You do it right now.
It is a wacky, fun time. I mean, it is completely bonkers. I remember watching it for the first time a few years ago, actually, because I'd never watched it until like 2020, 2021. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this movie is absolutely crazy.
It's peak. It's, like, as far as Lovecraftian horror, if you're really big into Lovecraft, the movie is based off of one of his short stories, but kind of like for the time, like a more modern take on it. It's got great special effects. The acting is great. Like, these actors weren't big at the time, but like they were babies, but they steal the show.
Oh yeah.
It's great. Like Jeffrey Combs as Herbert West is like so iconic, and I love him. I love him. I love Barbara, and I love that movie.
And it's not even like he isn't even scary as in like most of the horror icons that you see like in movies, like the standard like Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy. He is not strong whatsoever. He's kind of a geek.
He's kind of manipulates people. I think that's like,
for sure
where, besides the body horror and stuff of the movie, like I think where the horror of like Herbert West is like he is so psychotic and manipulative that you're just like, bro, like if this guy came up talking nonsense to me, I'd be like, hey, I'm in, sign me up.
You're like, whatever, please don't hurt me.
Exactly.
Your brain is scaring me, bub.
He kind of has like that I call it like the Thanos mindset. Like another thing that's scary about him is like he's doing this because he thinks he's right. Like it's all in the pursuit of science to him. Nothing else matters.
For real, yeah. And some of those make some of the characters like that make some of the best storytelling, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
What exactly got you into horror?
That's kind of an interesting question. So when I was younger, during the days of, late night television and scrolling through the TV guide trying to find something to watch, my parents were out one night and I happened to catch the original Friday the 13th on. From the beginning, it's kind of crazy at the time to think. It was like an 8 o'clock time block, I think. So I just caught it. I wasn't supposed to be up there. I was supposed to be in bed. But I remember being scared of that and being just like, wow, this was really cool. It wasn't until a few years later that we got like our first VCR, and one of the movies on that was Sleepy Hollow, starring Johnny Depp.
Hell yeah.
I fell in love with that movie. I watched it on repeat all the time. Like I would finish it and then wait for it to rewind all the way back to the beginning and watch it again.
Did you all do an episode on that? I remember you talking about Sleepy Hollow a lot in the show that you all did.
We did not get to do an episode on that.
Oh, what a shame.
It never came up. I think I mentioned it in I think we did an episode on our Halloween picks, for, what movies to watch during spooky season.
I think that was it, yeah.
I think I mentioned it on there and talked about my love for it there. Yeah, that's another great movie. If you listeners have not seen that, you should definitely check that out.
I haven't watched it in so long, but I do remember really enjoying it. And I'm trying to think of some movies because my son, he likes spooky stuff. I wouldn't, he's not really seen any of the real horror movies. I did show him Halloween 2, like the TV cut of it. Because, I feel like that's the most tame. And he liked it, but now he won't even watch it. He's kind of a little bit of a chicken right now. It's okay. I was too. But I feel like Sleepy Hollow might be a little bit more his style, so I might have to let him give that a watch because he loves Ghostbusters. He's a big Goosebumps fan, so I feel like maybe a little bit of Sleepy Hollow would do him some good.
Well, you got him on the right track then, brother.
I'm trying my best,
I think that's also a Tim Burton movie, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
It's got that Tim Burton wackiness to it.
Yeah.
So it could be a pretty good entry-level horror film for the guy. There's some beheadings, though. I'd be kind of weary of that. But other than that, yeah, it's a good movie for the spooky season, for sure.
I did show him Army of Darkness, too. He loves that movie.
It's a
classic. That's an episode for a different day, for sure.
Oh, sign me up, brother.
Hey, I'll write it down. But today's episode, we're going to be talking about the latest adaptation from Stephen King, Salem's Lot, that came out last year in 2024. Did it come out in September or October? I can't exactly remember the release date of it. Let me check here. October 3rd is when it came out. And this movie is severely underrated. I truly believe that. Now, I did see some videos where people were praising it, saying that it was a really good time, but really it just kind of came and went. It just kind of disappeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Especially, I rewatched it for this episode, so it would have been my second viewing of the movie. I remember thinking the first time I watched it, it was okay, and I was like, this did its job. It was satisfying enough. But upon rewatching it, I found a lot more things that I enjoyed about it, and I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I think it's kind of an underrated modern adaptation of the story.
Yeah, for real. When it comes to vampires, especially since like 2010s era, vampires kind of became just a laughing stock because of the Twilight, True Blood scene. And we were really lacking vampire movies about how scary they are and the good storytelling we can get from that. And not to compare to The Lost Boys, because The Lost Boys is a true classic, but I feel like this gives us a true American vampire movie, if you know what I mean. The Lost Boys feels like just a Hollywood style vampire movie. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
I don't really know how to explain it.
Lost Boys, even though it takes place in sort of a small town, it's in California, which everything's crazy out that way, especially during the 80s. Yeah, this feels like kind of hometown, small town, American, American dream sort of feeling movie. And I think this and the original that Tobe Hooper did kind of encapsulates that pretty well, especially the book too. The book just feels like the lead up to everything just feel very hometowny, and even the main character, him coming back to Jerusalem's Lot, he's been away for a while. Yeah, you kind of get that small town feel. I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, and I think that's some of the best storytelling, especially on Stephen King's part, but in general, I love a good small town story, and I feel like Stephen King knows how to write that so well. And most of his books are set in either, Salem's Lot, Derry from Maine, and Castle Rock. Those are all set in Maine, but they're all small towns, and he really knows how to paint a picture when it comes to the small town setting. He's written some books set in cities and Florida and stuff, but most of it is just a real tight-knit community, and I think that's why it works with his writing too, because he loves writing behind the scenes of different characters, especially in Salem's Lot, the book, which compared to the movie, you don't really get so much of that, but I don't think it would necessarily work in a movie setting. But in the book, you get little side chapters of different characters throughout the town right before they disappear and as they disappear. And I just think that setting works perfect.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, if we were going to do everything by the book, that movie would be 5 or 6 hours long.
The original Toby Hooper's was like, what, 3 hours long?
Yeah, back in the day, you could get away with that because, I mean, that was made for TV. That was a miniseries. You tune in every week or whatever. But yeah, that's. I'd be there for it because I love Salem's Lot. It's one of my favorite Stephen King books, and like just any adaptation I eat up.
Yeah, I don't know where I would place it, but I know it's in my top 5 because I love Ben Mears as a character. Susie Norton is a fantastic character too, and I loved their chemistry in the book and in this movie. But let's focus on the movie because I'm about to nerd out and just keep talking about the book. This movie came out October 3rd of 2024, and that is crazy because we found out that this movie was coming out in 2019.
Yeah.
That was forever ago. That was literally 6 years ago. And I remember them showing the poster in 2021. And I was like, oh, this movie's about to drop. And for some reason, they just didn't drop the movie whatsoever. It was supposed to have been a theatrical release. Didn't get released in theaters. It got released on Max. And I feel like that plays a huge part in why this movie didn't succeed is just the huge gap between the hype of it. Because, I mean, this was riding off the waves of Stephen King's It. And so everyone was trying to get a good Stephen King property in. And this one just kind of disappeared for the longest time.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think COVID just drop kicked this movie, unfortunately, and like many other movies too. The newer Halloween installments are a big example of that too.
Yeah.
It is kind of a shame that this movie didn't get the theatrical release that it deserved. I think if it went to theaters, it would have done pretty well because most of Stephen King's adaptations, like you were saying, with It and then that newer Pet Sematary that came out did fairly well. I mean,
yeah,
in the box office. So,
and story-wise, that one was kind of a dud too compared to other ones. I honestly feel like this Salem's Lot movie was 10 times better than
I agree.
The Pet Sematary remake for sure.
Wholeheartedly. I was kind of disappointed when I went and saw that, but
yeah, it's hard to even talk about watching it. I was just like, what the hell did they do at the end there? It was all over the place.
Yeah, who knows?
The original director of this movie was supposed to have been what's his name? Let me see here. What's the guy Wan that did Insidious and stuff? James Wan.
James Wan.
He was supposed to have been the director of this movie, and it got passed over to Gary Dauberman, which I honestly think Dauberman did a great job, but I don't know too many details on what it was. He's still listed as a producer, but he was supposed to have been the director of the movie.
Yeah. He's kind of had some hit or miss work, it seems. Like, it looks like he had a director-screenwriter role in Annabelle Comes Home, Chapter 2, The Nun 2. He was an executive producer on The Nun 2, which, hey, say what you will about those movies. The second Nun, I thought, actually was decent.
I agree with you. The first Nun absolutely sucked dick. I was like, I'll never watch this trash again. But The Nun 2, it was last year or the year before, I was sitting on the couch with China. I was like, you want to give The Nun 2 a try? Because we hated the first one, and we watched it, actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was pretty pleasantly surprised with it, too. Say what you will about the first one. The first one is kind of dookie, because, like, how are you going to have a movie called The Nun, and she's barely in it? Like, what are we doing here? Like 2 minutes of screen time. What the fuck are we doing here? But I will say that movie has great atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the fog of the Transylvanian hillside is like rolling out of the TV when you're watching that movie. I think they succeeded super well in that. Now, if they could actually put the named character in the movie, we'd be golden. Yeah,
we see The Conjuring 2, and the nun is like scary as hell. And then the nun, we're like, I want to see more of her. And they're like, guess again.
They're like, oh, you guys want to see more? She's going to get her own movie.
How about, Speaking of atmosphere, though, I do agree the atmosphere of those movies were good, but the atmosphere in this movie was amazing. The lighting in this movie throughout, whether it was daytime or nighttime, was absolutely flawless. In this movie, not a lot of movies in nighttime really do this effect that Halloween did, where they played with the blues when it comes to nighttime. This one did, and it was beautiful, and I enjoyed every aspect of the lighting and scenery atmosphere of this movie. I thought it was beautiful.
I agree 100%. Like I was saying about The Nun too, like the fog really rolls out of the screen when you're watching this movie. Another thing I really loved about a lot of the nighttime shots, when you see the vampires during those shots, like the whole combination of like the sky around them or like the environment around them all kind of centered in on their eyes, like their glowing eyes, it's really beautifully shot.
Mm-hmm.
I love stuff like that. Like if you're gonna have like a really dark setting and like your main antagonist or your creature, your villain or whatever has like glowing eyes and it's like the center point of like a dark shot, I love that stuff, dude. And this movie has a lot of great shots like that.
Really, for sure. I will say China was absolutely terrified of Barlow in this movie. He was honestly, yeah, he was ugly as shit, but he was just terrifying. He had a massive presence. Even if he wasn't there, you could tell that his presence was just taking over this town. Before we go into like the specifics of everything here, let me go ahead and read the short little synopsis here on IMDb. An author returns to his hometown of Jerusalem's Lot in search of inspiration for his next book, only to discover that the townspeople are being attacked by a bloodthirsty vampire. That is short, sweet, to the point. IMDb really knows how to do a short synopsis there.
That's a great synopsis.
Yeah, it paints a clear picture of it. What'd you think of the characters of this movie?
I think they're pretty well done. I think Ben Mears as a whole is really great. I really enjoyed Lewis Pullman's performance of Ben Mears. I think is like rock solid. I think it's very similar to the book. If you've read the book,
100%.
I think he's one of the best characters in the movie. Probably besides the little kid. It's Mark, right?
Yeah,
it
is Mark.
I think they steal the screen every time they're on screen.
Yeah, every single time. I actually enjoyed every single character in this movie, except for Dr. Cody, who was portrayed by Afrae Woodard. I don't know, something about her eyes or something just... I don't know. It looked fucking weird, to be honest.
Yeah.
I felt like they could have chose someone a little bit better, because it's like she didn't believe anything that was going on until it happened. Then she's a complete professional, which, honestly plays a part with all of it. Every character kind of goes that way, which isn't necessarily a complaint. It's a complaint on her part because I didn't believe it. But everyone else also, it was sort of meta commentary on vampires because it's set in like a world like we are in right now. We clearly know about vampires through pop culture and everything. And they're the same way, except vampires are actually in their existence, and as soon as they see it, they're like, oh yeah, that's clearly a vampire. So they do little bits of research and go all out and kill these motherfuckers.
Yeah, like it's kind of interesting how just everybody was like, oh yep, doing vampires. I knew it from the start. I don't know about y'all. I think the character it works the best with though is Mark, because he's so into like monsters and stuff. It just it just makes sense that he was like, oh yeah, these are vampires. Totally. I know this. This is my bread and butter right here.
Yep.
And I'm glad he's here because I don't think anybody else would have lasted as long without Mark, because Mark is like the GOAT of the movie.
He literally walks into that church, like filling up bottles of like holy water. And they're like, what the hell are you doing here, kid? And he's like, I got to go kill Barlow. And they're like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Who is this kid?
Bro's ready. He's got his steaks. He's got his holy water. He's ready to rock and roll. Dude.
Yeah, he's sitting there covered in blood, and they're like, should we like call the police or something? What's going on here?
He just like comes into the church and is like, okay, bye. See ya.
What? I really enjoyed Lewis Pullman as Ben Mears, and who played Mark, Jordan Preston Carter. I think he did a fantastic job. I remember there was a fan casting, and I was like, yeah, that person would be a good Mark. It was some kid off of the Castle Rock TV show. I can't remember his name. That was my original thought, but this kid was fantastic. I loved him. And when I saw her face, I was like, I've seen her in something before, but I've looked at her movies, and there's she was in Gotham, but I never watched the Gotham TV show, so I've never seen her in anything. But she has that face and that presence that just feels very familiar. She was very good as Susie.
I agree. She was a very good companion piece to Ben Mears. I totally agree. I remember seeing her on Gotham. She's pretty good in that show too. I mean, all things considering with that show, take it or leave it. But
yeah, I've heard some different things about Gotham, but the intro, like their entrance with Ben Mears and her, was absolutely hilarious, where she's sitting there reading his book and he's just like, hey, he's like, you enjoying the book? And she's like, I'm actually to the point where I'm thinking about closing it and never opening it again. And he's like, ouch.
Absolutely no idea who he is.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
As he's sitting there talking, she looks back at like the back of the book and she's like, shit, I just fucked up really bad. I thought it was hilarious. And I think it's funny too, because people love to dog on Stephen King's endings in the books. And it's like Stephen King loves to write characters about like authors and then people shitting on them too. And it's just funny to see every single time. They did that with It Chapter 2. What was what was the writer's name? That's literally one of my favorite movies and my favorite book. Was that Will, or was it? I forgot about his name.
Dude, I'm having a huge brain fart right now. Hold on a second here. Bill.
Bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill, that happened to him too. And it's always funny to see.
Yeah, it's very much an homage to King himself, who just, people shit on him all the time, especially his endings, like you were saying. It is pretty funny. I like the fact that he can kind of have fun with himself in that sense when he's writing or stuff like that. I think it's funny.
Let's see here. What are your favorite? Sorry about that.
I was just going to say, I think another really great character that I think's kind of underrated in this movie is fucking Bill Camp as Matthew Burke as the school teacher. Dude, he's great.
He is the teacher that I wish I had throughout life. He is such a cool teacher, and he knows the bullies, so he helps this, the black sheep of the crew out, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to help the little guy against these dangerous presences, especially with the bullies. I mean, that one kid was a little dirtbag, and he completely understood.
He's like, listen, I got mad respect for you. You can't be doing that around me.
He was like, do it outside of school if you want to, really, but like...
Off the floor with him, just do it out of here, man. I don't want to deal with that.
I love how he was like, and what was the word he told him to say before he would let go?
Shit, what was it? I'm blanking on it now.
I can't remember. He had like a safe word, basically. Mark had the bully in like a arm lock, and he was like, you say this and I'll let go. And he said it, and he still didn't let go. And the teacher was like, next time you do that, you let go out of respect. We don't do that around here. Yeah. And I thought that was a really cool move. Because
he said uncle.
Uncle, yep.
Yeah.
And I like how cool he was about that. He's like, if you're going to fight and kick someone's ass, and if there's a safe word involved, let him go. One of my favorite scenes, there was three of them that really stood out. But one of my favorite scenes, especially when it comes to the lighting, was the woods scene where Mark's friends were walking home. And the sky had that purple and red hue, and they were blacked out. And I thought that was one of the most beautiful shots in recent movies. I thought that was fantastic.
They did do like a really great job with that. It really kind of encapsulates, that fear of the dark, when you're a kid and you got to walk home, there's no street lights or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They did a great job with that, that scene with, I think it's Danny and Ralphie, I think are their names.
Yes. Danny, the Glick boys, Danny and what? I think it's Ralphie. It was Ralphie. Yeah. Ralphie.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think that scene's really great.
And the scene after that was absolutely brutal.
Yeah, where Straker takes him back to the Martinson's house, or the Marston house.
The Marston house, yeah.
That's there's some pretty good build up there, man. Like you kind of get the POV of Ralphie, and like he's peeking through the bag, and you see Barlow. It's kind of the first appearance of Barlow, like full, kind of headshot. I gotta say, I think Barlow's pretty scary looking. I think
he's
they did a good job with that.
Scary boy. Yeah, he kind of looks like a ball sack. Get the full view of him. He has like veins sticking out of the top of his head. I was like, he kind of looks like a wrinkly ball sack.
Like, they're not small; they're big ass. veins,
big
on
ass
this dude's head.
veins.
Like,
Yeah. Well, he
Looks
keeps
like-
drinking so much blood, his fucking brain's trying to focus and
he looks like the back of somebody's eyeball. That's what he looks like.
real, literally. And he kind of looks like the nun too. He's got like a pointy ass nose and everything.
He's kind of got that going for him. The face structure is very similar.
Something about Doberman really wanting to make ugly looking characters with pale skin, long noses, and long
Glowing yellow
faces.
eyes.
Glowing yellow eyes too, yeah.
I do like the design of Barlow. It's very reminiscent of Toby Hooper's Barlow.
For sure, yeah.
This one actually gets to talk, though, so that's kind of a
Thank God.
feature. Barlow in the book, he's like a kind of a Dracula type character. Like he looks like a pale person with just like really long fingers. That's like how he's described. And he talks actually in the book a good bit.
Yeah, honestly, I think this design choice, because in the book he had a little bit more human features, but this one, Toby Hooper's kind of played with the Nosferatu look. Barlow, and this one was kind of good mixture of both of them. He wasn't so much Nosferatu-like, but he wasn't too much human either. And the fact that he talks was fantastic, because one of my favorite parts in the book was Barlow like talking down to Father Callahan, knowing that Father Callahan's faith isn't all there.
Yeah.
Which ends up screwing him over in the long run.
And they recreate that scene in this movie, and it's pretty chilling. Like, it's pretty good. Whoever they got to voice Barlow, I think, did a very good job with that line delivery.
Yeah.
It also, like, when I see that scene, it reminds me of Fright Night a little bit with Jerry Dandridge and, what is his name? I think it's Peter something.
I can't even think of it. Yeah,
But
my brain's all over the place.
Scene in that movie where like the heroes like hold up a crucifix to Jerry Dandridge and he laughs at them and is like, you have to have faith for that to work,
Yep.
Taunts them. So that's like where my brain went with it.
The craziest, this is absolutely the biggest difference from the movie and the book. With that scene against Father Callahan and Barlow, in the book, he actually lets Father Callahan live because he knows that it would be more beneficial for him to suffer, and him knowing that he lost that faith and him live through all this nightmare was so depressing that he just let Father Callahan live through that. That's crazy. But in the movie, he killed him.
Yeah, in the book, it's almost like, a fate worse than death, like to die would be, to end his suffering. But, the fact that, his faith failed him and, his Lord couldn't save him from, the horror that is Barlow. I mean, that's got to be, a heavier toll to inflict, not just, Barlow doing it to him, but Father Callahan, who's got to go through it. That's pretty heavy stuff there. Yeah, I agree with you.
Not so much that I like both of them. I think it's, it doesn't really matter which way you have it. But in the books, Father Callahan actually has a bigger role within Stephen King's universe.
Yeah.
Compared to the movie, this is just a one-off type thing. So obviously they can't do anything with that guy anymore because he's dead. He's dead as fuck.
He gone.
Let's see. One of my favorite... This is the reason why I wanted to do this episode. Last week's episode, when we reviewed Hard Eyes, me and Jesse were talking about the drive-in scene. And I was like, there's one movie that I feel has the best drive-in sequence I've seen personally from the top of my head, and that's this movie. I think everything that has to do with the drive-in in this movie was phenomenal. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a really neat idea to kind of have them all like hunkering out in like the trunks of the cars and stuff at the drive-in. Like, like out of all the places they could go, what's going to be the biggest spot that's going to fit all these people? And of course, it's the drive-in. Like, yeah, it's pretty neat. And they kind of build on that a little bit towards the beginning of the movie with Ben and I'm already blanking on her name.
Susie.
Yeah, Susan. Because they're at the drive-in kind of talking and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that sequence a lot.
In the most Hollywood type way, I love the shot of Barlow standing in front of the projector.
Oh, it was awesome.
I literally was like, holy shit, this is awesome. This is absolutely incredible.
Sitting on my couch, just like peak cinema right here.
Yep, I was like, magnifique. I was like, this is so good. Yeah, everything that had to do with the drive-in, especially where the sun was setting and like starting to cause shadow to go through the cars, and then the vampires were like, all right, it's time to play. And I mean, fuck, they were so close to getting Ben. I mean, he couldn't catch a break. No. Not only was Susan's mom trying to shoot him with a shotgun, but these vampires were tackling him. They were literally like a hair away from biting him, and he barely escaped. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, it's really intense. Kind of edge of your seat kind of moment.
Yeah, I literally was. The first time I saw it, I was at the edge of my seat. I was like, holy crap, is he even going to get through this? And he did, thankfully. But yeah, it was awesome.
And then not too far after that, like, you feel bad for Mark because Barlow's going after Mark and like trying to get to it. That I thought that was crazy too. Like, he's like under the something like fell. He's like under something. I can't.
The screen fell.
Yeah,
the screen fell, and he's like in between cars underneath the screen.
Barlow's trying to get to him. That's pretty intense too. You get another great look at Barlow there too.
Yeah,
more great effects looking there.
I mean, he was literally trying to squeeze his ballsack head through the cracks of this screen. The PTSD Mark must feel after not only killing so many people in his hometown, but this massive ballsack just trying to get him.
It looks like when one of your nuts falls out of your underwear. That's what's
literally. He's like, shit. God. Yeah, I'm just going to compare him to a ballsack the whole time. I'm not even going to say his name anymore. The ballsack is his name.
Ballsack.
I also really loved the ending because in the book, fucking Ben and Mark end up in like Mexico or something.
Yeah, they're running away.
Yeah.
Just because Barlow's dead doesn't mean there's not a town full of vampires coming after him.
So they're like, there's only one place to go. So they go to fucking Mexico.
Mark, pack your bags. We're going to Cancun.
And in the book, Susan is like alive chasing him. Yeah. But in the movie, they're all dead. And I feel like that works better. I honestly do. I feel like that is a good way to end it. The town is saved, kind of. They're all dead. It's dead, a dead town. But they ride off into the sunset.
Yep. On their, they got their fairy tale ending.
Yep.
They get to live happily ever after. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the ending. I kind of like the...
Really?
I've talked about, like, on We Beneath, like, I hate horror films. Not all horror films. Let me preface that. I don't hate all horror films that have a happy ending. But some of them, like, this movie, give us a little spicy ending, like with one of the vampires coming after him or something. Like, like they do in the original miniseries or the book. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. That's just me. I don't think all horror films need to have a happy ending. I think it kind of defeats the purpose a lot of the time.
To an extent, I agree with you. I can see where you're coming from. If they could have done that, I much prefer them be somewhere else than in like a weird little shack in Mexico. Yeah. They definitely could have done something else with it. And who knows why they chose it to end this way, whether there was like time constraints or what exactly. But I like that Ben and Mark get to make it out. They made it out in the book, too. They just kind of all closed out in the town.
Which I think works for what the movie's, like, trying to do. So I'm not hating on it too bad. Like, it works for, what they're trying to do. They're not trying to set up, like, a Stephen King universe or something,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's cool being, they win. They get their sunset. They earned it. All right.
I'm glad.
They kind of did earn it. I mean, they killed 90% of the population in town. I mean, that's kind of, they probably need to get the fuck up out of there because if somebody stumbles upon that, they're gonna be like murder suspects or something.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, why is there a bunch of ashes of bodies laying around? What the hell happened here?
Hell, what are all these skeletons doing at the drive-in?
Then Ben and Mark are just sitting there in the corner. They're like, hey. They're like vampires. And they're like, okay, get these fucking guys to a psych ward. Immediately. They're like, yeah, the craziest thing happened. This giant ball sack started infecting everyone, and we had to kill them all.
That's it. Put 2 sets of handcuffs on the kid. He's giving me the crazy eye.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm really sad that they still killed Susan off. That was one thing.
A bummer.
I really wanted Ben and Susan to get together and make it out, but they still didn't give Ben the satisfaction. He had to kill Susan still.
He had to do it. That's a pretty shocking scene when she gets bit. It's pretty sad. I'm like, damn it. All the people who couldn't make it out. I'm more mad, I think, about Matt than I am about Susan, because Matt was the GOAT.
Man, I know. He went out dirty, too.
His character, like I said earlier, I think he's one of the more underrated characters. Like, one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and it's my favorite scene from the miniseries as well, is when he brings the gravedigger Mike back to his house to like stay the night and stuff. Dude, that scene and the way he handles it is fucking awesome, especially in this movie, like where he like has the crucifix and it's like, for one thing, the crucifix is glowing, so it just adds to the effect. Yeah. He like revokes his invitation and Mike goes like sucking out of the house.
Yeah, for real. He's just like, just gets blown away.
Like this, like he like got sent out into the vacuum of space or something. Like,
yeah.
Awesome. He's like going down the stairs and shit out the front door.
He's sitting there doing freaking flips around the walls.
Dude, like his initial, like when he like turns around with the crucifix and he goes like flying out of the door frame.
I was like, holy shit, he's stronger than a fucking Jedi with that cross.
Dude, it was awesome. Just force pushed him into oblivion. Yeah, that scene, I think, is one of the stronger scenes in the movie. I love it. I love it in the original, too. You know, like it's probably one of the more iconic scenes where, like, you know, Mike's talking to him. He's like, look at me, teacher. And he's like trying to hypnotize him and stuff. Yeah. It's like, it's awesome.
The original scene is absolutely, I think it works better. I think it's scarier than this new adaptation, but I still liked Mike in this. I think he was still good.
Like, this adaptation feels like Mike's fighting the Balrog or something, and he's like, you shall not pass, and like force pushes him out of the house. The other is like, the original is like really gut-wrenching. Like, it's really tense and like legitimately scary. Like,
during the filming process, they're probably like, man, we still got a little bit of budget left over. What should we do? And they're like, let's blow these fucking vampires out the windows and shit right with the cross.
So we're going to have the little vampire dude fly in, and then Mike's going to go flying out the front door. We need to make it happen right now. Get the wires ready.
I can't remember if it was Ralphie or Danny outside the window.
It was Danny, because Mike was finishing the grave for Danny.
Yes.
And Danny, like, that scene where he pops out and, like, grabs him, which is another really cool scene.
The window scene with Danny floating out the window, I thought was terrifying, too. Like, I mean, they still felt like he was hanging on wires outside the window. It had a very practical, old-school feel, and I loved it.
Yeah, this movie does a great job with that, too. That's, like, the other, you know, big iconic scene from the original is, you know, Danny, like, trying to get Mark to open the window, Mark. Come on.
And he was so close to getting Mark, too. Like, his eyes were getting whited out, and I was like, shit, he's going to get him?
Mark got lucky. He also had the glowing crucifix blicky, so he was ready to send him to the stratosphere.
His fucking lightsaber activated, and he's like, fuck off, and he gets blown out the window.
It's like Finn from Force Awakens when he gets the lightsaber in the snow. Like, that's what that feels like. He gets the crucifix, and he's ready to rock it.
Yep. Let's see here. What are some other really fun scenes? I really liked I love where they were driving back to Matt's house to pick him up, and like they were all they were standing and hiding on top of the rooftop. They weren't hiding very well, obviously. They're fucking idiots. Like, it was terrifying still. Like, if I saw them standing on top of the roof, I was like, all right, yep, they fucked him.
It's a pretty unsettling thing. Like, if I were, like, you know, driving to my friend's house and I happen to look up on their roof and I just see like 3 motherfuckers with glowing eyes sitting on the roof, I'm turning around and leaving.
I was like, well, time to go to the Catholic Church and change. I'm going to start praying every second.
You know, I'm late for my baptism. I just realized that.
There's one scene that I think this is absolutely the dumbest thing in this movie. The cure of becoming a vampire is a rabies shot.
You didn't know that?
No, I obviously didn't. I'm not a doctor. Dr. Cody knew instantly.
It's in the ancient texts of vampire lore that you get a rabies shot when you get bit.
Yeah, she's like, it's right here in this textbook, the latest issue of Creepshow. It says here you just inject rabies and you're cured.
Who the fuck thought of that? Like, out of all the things, he's like, oh, yeah, I'll get my hepatitis C vaccine. That's going to help me in this situation. Like, what the fuck?
I was like, oh, she's going to cut off cut off something to stop the blood from being infected. Nope, she just gets a rabies shot and she's cured.
Yep, she's good. Barlow's effect has he can't withstand the power of the rabies shot. We have technology.
And then when Sugan's bit, Ben is like begging her. He's like, give her the fucking rabies shot. And Dr. Cody's like, nah, fam.
I can't help you there. Listen, I'm a little tired. I had to make a crucifix out of chopsticks or out of the popsicle sticks.
Tongs, yeah.
I'm a little tired.
I can't do that anymore.
I can't do it. I'm done. I'm spent. I can't help you.
I was like, that fucking bitch definitely could have saved Susan, but for plot reasons decided not to do it.
Yeah, who would have known that the vampire disease has an EpiPen of its own, and it's the rabies shot?
Yeah, I think that was the dumbest thing.
Yeah, I was a little confused about that. I was like, what rabies shot? I mean, sure, and I guess, but like, listen, these are vampires. This isn't Cujo. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, really. I really don't know. It must have been Doberman doing like a thing, because I know people are hit and miss with Doberman. I feel like this was one of those moments where like, okay, yeah, this is the shit that they hate him for, and because it just made no fucking sense.
Yeah, I can appreciate what they were trying to do though. Like it's more modern take. We got better medicine.
Rabies.
Yeah, rabies shot, bro. I'm telling you.
I was fully locked in on the fact that I was thinking that's not going to work clearly, but she gave it a shot. Nope, cured. Nope, completely cured.
Yep, got no problems. The ghost voices are gone. Barlow can't penetrate through the rabies shot. I'm telling you, he's got to up his game. Even
though I didn't like that character, the way it was portrayed in the movie, I did laugh really loud, like right before that, where Danny's mom is like sitting up and talking, and she's like, "Hell no."
We gotta go.
Yeah, that was the most realistic answer you could have given. She literally was shaking in her boots like, hell no.
No, we gotta go.
The treehouse scene, that was another one that I thought was awesome. Those kids just in the fucking trees trying to get Mark.
Beautifully shot.
Yeah.
And just another reason why Mark's the GOAT. He's quick thinking. He's like, they can't get me in the treehouse. It's a house. They need an invitation.
Yep, smart. I mean, they fucking banged on it nonstop, and he's like, fuck off.
I really like the scene, like, right as Ben, like, runs out into the street from the church, and you just, like, it's quiet at first, and then they all just start kind of, like, appearing on the rooftops. It's like rows and rows of vampires.
Yeah.
They're, like, staring at him like he's a Capri Sun.
Yeah, they're just like, mine? And he's like, oh, fuck.
Ben's like, we gotta, and he gets snapped.
Yeah, he does. Dude, that was crazy. I was like, oh, shit, what the hell just happened? And then you heard the steak, and I was like, oh, my God.
I thought that was it for him, honestly. I thought, like, oh, damn, they killed Ben Mears off. Like, they're getting serious with this shit. But no, you can't kill Ben Mears. He's
just simply, especially Lewis Pullman now. I mean, he's in Thunderbolts, for God's sake.
You're telling me vampires can kill the Sentry?
We won't accept that.
You think they can take on Bob?
Bob.
Bro's Bob. What are you going to do to Bob?
I still have not seen Thunderbolts, but I want to so bad. Because I heard his character was awesome.
Yeah, the boys went. We went and saw it. Yeah, dude, it's honestly really great. Yeah, go check that out.
It's one of the best Marvel movies in a long time.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It is. It was solid. I was honestly very surprised. Like my expectations, like weren't super low. Like they were kind of mid. Like I thought it was going to be okay. No, it was really good.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. When I saw the trailer, I was like, no, they're doing this freaking Red Guardians in it. It's going to be a flop, I swear.
Oh.
No. I was like, shit.
Damn it, they put David Harbour in another one of these fucking things.
But I heard that every single character was amazing. And it's crazy that they threw these little, like, under-the-rug characters, like the U.S. Agent and Ghost and all Taskmaster and all these little just kind of hated characters and turned them into characters that eventually we're just going to love, which is so cool.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing I like really appreciate about the movie, and I'm not spoiling nothing here, but I'm glad they didn't go like, they didn't try to be just like Suicide Squad. It didn't feel like that at all, which I greatly appreciated.
I'm going to have to watch it in the next week or two, but there's so many movies coming out. I don't know when I'm going to be able to, because now Clown in a Cornfield's out. The new Final Destination comes out next week.
I think that's going to be pretty good.
I'm so excited for that. Yeah. And those are reviews that I'm going to have to do on the pod too. It's a busy month.
You're going to have a busy summer, brother.
I know. I mean, I didn't think a lot was coming out, and then I keep looking on the calendar. I'm like, never mind.
Boom, here they are.
Release after release. To close things off here, they gave Salem's Lot a 5.6 on IMDb, and on Rotten Tomatoes, let's see what they gave it here.
43 or something, right?
46% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 47% on Metacritic. Honestly, I do not agree with these scores. Honestly, I've been scoring mine on Letterboxd rating, so 5 stars.
Okay.
I think I gave this a 4-star.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably give it like a 3.5. I mean, I don't think it's terrible by any means. I think it's kind of, like when I first saw it, I thought, this isn't bad, okay. But upon rewatching it, I went up. I would think I was at at a 2.5 when I first watched it, and then now I'm thinking 3.5, maybe a 4.
Like I think this is the ideal like popcorn horror movie. Like it's fun, it's scary. They brought scary vampires back, which I appreciate so much because we need that. We really need that. I think vampires are some of the most slept on monsters lately, and they brought it back. The fear factor was there. Yeah.
Vampires are very versatile, man. As far as the lore and what they can do, what they look like. You can do a lot with vampires.
Yeah.
And I think vampires needed a W. This one's a small one. I think got a small W. It's a step in the right direction for vampire flicks. I honestly think if you're a Stephen King fan and you just kind of want something to watch, or if you're entry level horror and you want something like a quick watch, check this out. Yeah,
I definitely agree. It's a good time. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's not something that's going to win awards.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to sit there and have a little movie night with some pals, get some drinks, snacks, sit down and watch it, I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy it. And you said, they didn't do anything new to the vampire culture, but they brought it back to the right direction. They're like, no, I don't want my vampires to have sparkly skin. I want them to look like ball sacks. And it worked,
We needed Count Ballsack.
Ballsack, we are so back. He's here and he's ready to infect the world with his large veiny balls.
That's right. Listen, this movie walked so sinners could run, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. I'm telling you right now.
I've not seen Sinners. I want to see that too.
Brother, yeah, make that your priority. Dude, it's really good.
I love a good Southern horror film, and that looks so much fun. It reminds me of From Dusk Till Dawn in a way. Now, I don't know if it's exactly like that, but watching the trailer, I was like, this gives me a good summer, hot horror film type vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's even very similar to the movie we just talked about. It's got a lot of elements of Salem's Lot, From Dusk Till Dawn. There's a lot of great homages. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. I'm telling you.
I'm going to have to check it out. Before we end, what movie are you most excited for this year?
That's a great question. Honestly, the one I'm looking forward to the most is Final Destination.
Man, right around the corner.
I'm excited. I think the boys and I are going to go try to see it. I know Bailey's really excited. Final Destination's his bread and butter.
Yeah. I know this is a little bit of a hot take. I really enjoy the Final Destination with Chester Bennington in it. I don't know if that's just because I love Chester Bennington so much, but that death scene of him was crazy.
Which one is that?
It's the 3D one. I can't remember. Was it just called Final Destination 3D?
I'm fairly certain.
3D. Yeah. Came out in 2009.
Yeah.
Dude, they had the red and blue 3D glasses too. That was right before they switched over the type of 3D. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that scene was fucking bonkers. Imagine you being fucking hot glued or whatever to a chair, and you're like, I have to break free. I'm going to run over my friends. And he's just fucking trying so hard to break free from that chair. He's doing his Linkin Park scream. And they all die. And that guy's jaw gets ripped off. That was brutal.
It's rough. It's rough out here.
I'm really excited because I think this was Tony Todd's last project he worked on. I think that's what they said, right? I think that is.
I believe so.
At least in film.
I got kind of emotional watching the trailer and seeing his face. I was like,
He looks so sick. It kind of breaks my heart.
it definitely broke mine, but I'm glad we're going to get to see the big man one last time on the big screen.
This isn't horror related, but I loved his Venom portrayal. I think
Dude,
he had the best voice for Venom. He sounded so fucking good.
I agree. Now listen, Topher Grace, right? We'll give him a pass,
I like Topher Grace.
Can't stand Topher Grace.
Listen, here's just a little bit of a tangent. Spider-Man 3 is a Sam Raimi movie.
Correct.
So I like it for the fact that it's a Sam Raimi movie because obviously he hates Venom. He didn't want to do Venom. So he did what he thought his portrayal of Venom would be. And it's clearly it's Peter Parker that had no sort of guidance in life. Like, it is Peter Parker without his Aunt May and Uncle Ben to a T. Like, Topher Grace was the biggest douchebag loser, and I think it worked. He's not Eddie Brock from the comics, obviously.
No.
But he is, given the script and everything, I think it works.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
I'm sorry, brother. I want to like that movie, but they make it so hard.
It's Sony. They love to ruin everything, I feel.
Yeah. It is what it is. I do think, like, Tony Todd, though, as far as, like, Venom voice actors go, he's pretty goated. I mean, perfect almost, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know any others that really, really match that. The only one I can think of that's, like, of course, from the Venom movies, I love, what's his name? Tom Hardy. I think his voice was good, but
it's not
Tony
bad.
Todd's was just perfect.
I'm trying to think who voices him in these animated series, because he's great too.
Yeah, let's see here. Hank Azaria.
That's right.
Azaria.
Yes.
That one was very goated too, especially being a kid, because it was like multiple voices in a way. It just sounded so sinister and reptilian.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I think that's like a really good Venom voice. Is like when it's layered over each other, Yeah. Kind of gives that like dual, sentience there. I really dig that stuff. So.
Yeah. But I think it's about time to close it off. We gave it a 4-star for me and a 3.5 for you. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. 3.5.
I think it's an easy watch. I think everyone should watch it. See what you think. I think it's slept on. I think it deserves a chance in the spotlight. And just watch the fucking movie. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, just check it out. It's a quick watch. You're not going to, lose an afternoon over it or anything. Just, give it a watch and formulate your own opinion.
Exactly. If people wanted to check out your show, where would you send them to?
Well, you can find us on Spotify at We Came From Beneath the Sea. All of our socials are on, it's We Came From Beneath the Sea on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. I think we get a lot of interaction on Twitter, so if you want to check out the show there. We're kind of, we haven't posted in a long time. We've kind of taken a back seat to podcasting. Lots going on for everybody. We might be back. We might not. We haven't totally decided yet. But if you want to check out our backlog of episodes, hit us up on Spotify. That's probably the best place to find us.
I really can't recommend you guys enough, not only because you guys are some of my best friends, but your all's knowledge in the horror space is very welcoming, and your all's chemistry in the episode just crack me up every single time. Some of the little quirks that you all say in the episodes just crack me the fuck up every single time I listen to an episode.
Good. I'm glad we can make somebody laugh out there. I was laughing because I was listening to your episode last week with Jesse, and he mentioned the Nightmare remake, and I just kind of chuckled a little bit.
Oh my God. I was about to stop recording right there. I was like, you just ruined my show. Like,
we have that running gag on We Beneath where they bring up the Nightmare remake, and I just go, what Nightmare remake? It doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
There's a Nightmare remake?
It's like, okay, you love Halloween 5. I'll accept it. I hate it, but I'll accept it.
Honestly,
but you fucking saying you like the Nightmare remake is blasphemy.
Like, I'm one of those people, you like what you like, we can agree to disagree. That movie though, oh my God. It's so bad. Honestly, I would love to like sit in on a show with Jesse and just talk Halloween 5 and just kind of hear him deconstruct like why he loves that movie so much.
He really should. When he was taking over the show back in the day, I don't know why he didn't. I don't know if it was because everyone loves talking shit about it. He was like, yeah, better not do it. But I would love to hear that, because I think a lot of it has to do with our childhood, because he really did. Every time I watched a movie, he was watching Halloween 5. He loves it. Absolutely adores it. And it's fun. I mean, I have fun with it.
Yeah, like, nostalgia goggles on that. I can remember, like, AMC Fear Fest, coming home from school, and, like, Halloween 4 and 5 would be on. So I don't have really any hate towards it. I don't think it's a great movie. I can say that. But, like, it's a fun movie to sit down and watch. I'll totally say that. This is also a hot take, though. I don't even think Halloween 4 is really that great of a movie. I know people adore it, but I really, like, if you look at it critically, it's kind of a mess, just like 5. And if I had to choose between that Thorn trilogy, I would choose Halloween 6, to be quite honest with you. I think it's fucked up and crazy, but I have fun with it. I mean, at least you got Paul Rudd and our boy Loomis. I'm just blanking on names tonight. I'm so bad. Who played Donald Pleasance. Yeah, I'm going to get crucified for that now. And his beard, though, looked damn good. He had some beard game going on, brother. He was like, good. I may be going out, but I'm going to go out like a fucking G with this beard. That's right. Put some respect on his beard. Did you watch the unrated one of Halloween 6? I'm fairly certain I have. It's been so long, honestly, dude. It's been so long since I've seen any of those. Like, it's time for like a nostalgia rewatch, because I haven't really been watching movies lately. Yeah. And like, there's so many like of those movies I want to go back and just rewatch. I just haven't had the time. I want to, though. I'd love to. I'd actually told China that I'd love to start doing like a weekend movie night to watch, like, to finish off the Halloween franchise, because I don't think she's seen all of them. Well, I mean, she's not really missing much. No. It's kind of a requirement. You got a little required viewing, I literally have the divorce papers in my backpack just in case. Like, I'm just like, you don't want to watch Halloween 6? Are you sure about that? Sure. Do you not want to say you enjoy Halloween 5? You're breaking my heart. Come on. Yeah. Man. All right, guys. That was this week's episode of the Silver Screen Scream Show. If you would like to contact me, follow me on the socials on X, and I have a Facebook page as well. Check out our Patreon page. If you'd like to support the channel, we have our whole back catalog of episodes with me and Jesse. Not all of them. We're trying to find some lost episodes, but any bit of support helps. And there will be bonus episodes such as fan castings, commentaries, and I may end up throwing in some videos as well. It just depends on the time. But if you'd like to do that, please do email us at thesilverscreenscreamshow@gmail.com. And until next time, stay scary.